Dear all, Autism Learning Materials Supermarket is an autism community project implemented by NBAI, AI for Autism, Job4autism, and Mr. Lei Duong Lam to provide authentic and updated 24/7 documents thanks to artificial intelligence for parents with children with autism and related disorders, specialized teachers, inclusive teachers, and therapists. Today, we would like to introduce video number 0.95, AI for Autism, a bridge or a crutch.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty incredible, a brand new frontier where AI is being used to support autistic individuals. Now, these tools have this amazing promise to bridge communication gaps, but they also bring up some really complex questions. So let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right, where you're talking to someone and it just feels like you're on completely different planets? Well, for interactions between different neurotypes, say between someone who is autistic and someone who is neurotypical, that feeling can be a daily, constant reality. And it's that exact gap in understanding that technology is now trying to fix. So the big idea here is to use AI as a kind of social translator. The goal is to help decode those unspoken social cues, explain unwritten rules, and just give people insight into totally different ways of thinking and communicating. These tools are trying to build a bridge where, right now, there can be a lot of confusion and hurt. So that all sounds great in theory, but how do they actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the mechanics of these new applications, from the super specialized apps to tools you might actually already have on your phone. Okay, so one of the big names in this space is an app called Neurotranslator. It got a lot of buzz in the Washington Post, and it's designed to be your personal interpreter for social situations. The way it works is, it uses AI models that have been trained on therapist advice, scientific research, and even dialogue from online autism forums. Pretty clever, right? And using it is incredibly simple. First, a user just selects their own neurotype. Then, they add what the app calls connections, like a partner or a boss, along with their neurotype. And finally, they just describe a social situation that was confusing, and the AI spits out different perspectives from each point of view. The whole goal is to build that bridge of understanding. And here's what's really important. This kind of support isn't just locked away in some niche app. A lot of people are discovering just how powerful general AI tools like ChatGPT can be for these exact same challenges. It really just comes down to knowing what to ask it. And here are some real-world examples of what that actually looks like. You can ask an AI to take your chaotic to-do list and turn it into a clear, manageable plan. Or you can have it draft one of those tricky emails that would normally give you a ton of anxiety. It can even act as a safe space, a simulator, to practice a difficult conversation without any of the real-world pressure. So, we have these tools, we know how they work, but what's the actual real-world impact? Let's shift gears and look at the promise of AI support and see how this is actually changing lives, based on what users and experts are saying. The benefits people are talking about are, well, they're huge. A major one is that the AI gives feedback that is completely non-judgmental. An AI doesn't get tired or impatient, This helps people build real confidence, decode those subtle social rules that can be so baffling, and just ease the anxiety that comes from misunderstandings. And all of that leads to more independence. And this quote, wow, it really just brings the human side of this all home. This isn't just about making small tasks easier. For a lot of people, this is about preventing deep, real, unintentional pain in the relationships that matter most. The potential here is just profound. And that feeling is a theme you see over and over in the feedback. Just the feeling of being understood, of having your perspective seen and validated. It's incredibly powerful. For so many users, these tools bring this huge sense of relief. Like, okay, my experience is real. And that helps them navigate a world that doesn't always make sense. But it can't all be that simple, right? Of course not. With any technology this revolutionary, there are a ton of valid concerns and potential downsides. We absolutely have to look at the other side of this coin. And this really gets us to the core of the debate, the central question everyone is asking. Are these tools empowering people, giving them a leg up to build their own skills, or are they creating a dependency, a crutch that could actually get in the way of developing those social skills organically? So let's break down these concerns. First, like we just said, there's over-reliance. Then there's accuracy. I mean, human interaction is messy and nuanced, and AI could easily miss the context and make things even more confusing. Data privacy is another massive one. People are typing their most sensitive personal interactions into these things. And finally, there's algorithmic bias. If the AI is trained on bad data, it could just end up reinforcing harmful stereotypes instead of breaking them down. And beyond all the techie concerns, there's a really basic, fundamental question of fairness. I mean, even if a tool is absolutely perfect, what good is it if the people who need it the most can't get their hands on it? And that brings us to the issue of money. Now, a subscription that costs $4 to $12 a month might not sound like a lot to some of us, but if you're on a tight budget, especially when disability can make it hard to find steady work, that reoccurring cost can be a massive barrier. It raises a really tough question. Are we creating a world where these life-changing tools are only for people who can afford them? So, let's bring this all together and go back to that central question. When you weigh the incredible potential against some very serious risks, what is this technology really? Is it a bridge or is it a crutch? You know, the more you look at it, the answer seems to be it's both. These tools have absolutely revolutionary potential. They can empower and support people in ways we've never seen before. But they are walking a very, very fine line. The line between a tool that builds you up and a crutch that you can't live without. And navigating that line is going to be tricky. And that really leaves us with the big question for the future. As this AI gets smarter and more woven into our daily lives, the challenge for all of us, for the developers, the users, for society, is how do we use this incredible power to build bridges for communication without letting it become a crutch that actually weakens our ability to connect as human beings? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.
Autism Learning Materials Supermarket would like to thank parents, teachers, and interventionists. Please disseminate to relevant people in the autism community so that more and more people can access this authentic and scientific learning resource. To raise awareness in the community, please subscribe to watch the next videos. For any questions, please contact the email below.